Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is another unscripted auction review, and today we're looking at a 99 Jeep Cherokee XJ classic trim level sitting on Cars and Bids with about a day to go. I have not really looked at this one in detail. I did see it go live. I got an alert from them, but it's the first time I've really taken a look at it. So let's see here. It's got 22 hours to go. It's currently November 5th, so it ends tomorrow. It's $7,700. Ooh, 69,000 miles. This is a pretty low mile truck. 99 is a very good model year. Explain why in a second. Being sold by a dealer out of Maryland. This is a pretty popular dealer on Cars and Bids. Let's see here. I'll generally skip through some of this because you can read it yourself. Very basic equipment here. We'll go through the Carvex, so I won't go through that. They talk about a little bit of wear, nothing particularly major here. And the only service they have listed is from the Carfax. The selling dealer probably did very little, if anything. Selling dealer had the hood, tailgate, and rear bumper, not pumper, repainted. I can't speak today. It's going to make this video difficult. They've got a couple of videos. Ooh, look at that. A Nagaro blue Audi S4 just went live. Gonna look at that later. Always like those. Anyway, let's go through the Actually, let's look at the Carfax first. We've got a damage report, 3 owners, 65,000 miles at its last. So we've got some sort of an incident in 2004, something else in 2021. Let's see here. Original owner was in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, but the first services dated were in the Chicago area. So we should be looking for rust. Quite a bit of Chicago history here. It's not a great sign. I mean, it is nice to see it was dealer serviced early on, but Chicago is a pretty close to as bad as it gets in this country for rust. Minneapolis should probably win that one, but or Maine. Damage report from 2004 at 34,000 miles. Not much information there. All right, now we've got it registered in Illinois in 2005. Pops back over to Maryland in 2007. This is calling it a new owner. A little coincidental that it's back in Maryland, so I'm guessing probably the same owner. Virtually nothing here until an oil change in 2021 at 55,000 miles. Then a damage report, damage to front undercarriage, disabling vehicle damage. Reported airbags did not deploy. So this is something relatively big, but not huge. It's marked as minor. We'll look carefully. Then we've got basic. They did a transmission fluid flush. That's a nice thing to see. You got new shocks put on in 23, so that's about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. And safety inspection was failed in July, and then it was performed and it passed on the same day with surprising number of miles, 150 miles, somewhere between there. That could be a typo somewhere in there because it was all on the same day. Whatever that was is probably minor. New owner in the same town, and here we are right now. So let's go back and look at it. Pictures. So rare color, desert sand. These on the Sport model, if you got this particular optional wheel called the Echo wheel, they came color matched to it. It was kind of a strange look, but still kind of cool. Let's see here. The front bumper doesn't quite match right now. We know it's been painted up front here, but you can tell that the way that it mounts to this center section isn't quite right, and that looks like a slightly different color. Very hard to get those painted. The original ones that were painted are different than the aftermarket ones you can buy today. Hard to get paint to bond to them. Excuse me. Otherwise, I see what looks like some off-brand tires, and really nothing else to note here. Same deal here. Yeah, you can see where we've got a color match issue. They don't quite fit around the fog lights. Yeah, not a great fitment down there. That said, the paint looks pretty shiny up here. Jeep badge sits a little too low. And it's also shiny. It should be sort of a matte finish on a 99 Classic. Certain years, 2001 and 2000 Limiteds had shiny badging. This appears to be correct, though. Even that placement that's kind of weird is correct on the door. Coming around the rear end looks pretty good. I don't see any real issues here. No trailer hitch. That always makes me happy because you shouldn't tow with one of these. What I thought was a dent in the tailgate was a smudge on my computer screen. Looks pretty good here. Again, we're seeing where it's just hard to get these right because the clips that they used from the factory, I don't think they're available anymore to attach these. And plus the original parts aren't available, so you're kind of working with what you can. Almost certain these fog lights have been replaced. They're commonly available for not much money. Let's see, we'll zip through. We've got 154 pictures to go through here, so I'm going to try to speed up. Little ding on the door, nothing major. I do see an incorrect spare back there that is a full size, but these would have had a matching alloy wheel, so somebody's done something. I don't know if the original one. We'll have to see. Cars and Bits provides a build sheet, so we'll see if it came with a full size spare. I'll kind of show you how to read one of those. In fact, that might be its own video. Let's see here. Still looking pretty good. Really not seeing much. Back window's a little dirty in that picture, but yeah, same thing. It's got these. I think that's a winter wiper with that little blue thing, but you know, not gonna overthink that. Looks good from this side. Rear bumper might be a little darker. Oh, you know, that's just a shadow. Actually, this thing looks great if this is a color you like. See those yellow shocks in there? It's obviously not original. Could be Bilstein's, but I don't think so. Let's see, we've got, I've learned a lot about headlights recently. That's a Napa. Not much to learn there, but let's see. The paint's really looks good. It's got a good metallic to it still. Windshield is actually a Chrysler Safeguard original in here. I don't know if it's the original windshield because the seal looks like it's probably been replaced, but they replaced with a Safeguard, which is certainly not made anymore. This does not look like the right kind of screw here, but we know that the front end's been apart for some paint. Not a big job. Like I said, this shiny is not correct for this. It's probably all they can find though. Yeah, this looks like it's a Torx that's in here. Let's see, you can zoom in here, can't you? Yeah, so somebody's put, I don't know if you guys can see this, somebody's put a Torx in the headlight ones, but they're all supposed to be Phillips. These are correct on the grill. I'll just zoom out and go into the next. Very minor, but typical stuff. I just couldn't find the screws. Yeah, it looks really nice from the side. It's actually a very, very nice looking Jeep. Good photos. A little bit of wear on the 4x4 badge. Bit of fading on the roof here. Roof could probably be buffed back to a degree. This one's got, I'm guessing this is the factory rear tint on this. Hard to tell what the windows say. If they're factory, I can't tell. Maybe they included some pictures of the window etching. That mirror's kind of nasty looking. They're kind of hard to get clean once they start to fade. Looks good on this side. There's that roof in more detail. Yeah, it's a little bit faded. We got an Iron Man tire here and a bit of corrosion right on the wheel here, probably where it had a wheel weight at one point. The lug nuts are surprisingly rusty, but not a hard fix. Maybe see a little bit of rust creeping in on the pinch weld here. I do see what looks like a relatively new muffler back there. Some more wheel corrosion, but nothing major. Got to find a valve cap. Another valve cap missing. More wheel corrosion on this. These wheels are a little expensive to get done. All right, we've got an agate interior. I always thought that the gold with black interior was a strange contrast. These looked a little better with the camel. This looks like a fairly low option model. I see just the basic cassette player. We do have the cruise control. That was an option on these. Do not have the Sentry key, but we do have two remotes. Can't tell if we have two keys. There's the fog light button. The cigarette lighter still there. All the stuff you want to see. Classic seats look like they're pretty good. Maybe a little mark on the driver's seat there. This has been redone. Typical. They're all cracked by now. This bolstering here. We got a command track transfer case. Got something, this little bump is holding up what would be a sagging headliner. There's another one on the other side. Actually looks done fairly well. 69, almost 70,000 miles on it. Back to the seat. It's surprisingly scratched up over there. This is kind of chalky almost, the surround of the steering wheel cover there. I think we're missing a bolt on the seat here. Yeah, they snapped that off. They snap commonly, real common on them. Not that hard to back one out, but yeah, they didn't bother to do that. I wouldn't want to drive that real far. This vinyl does not even come close to matching the factory. That was a mistake. That's called lowest bidder there. It does look like we've got, I forget what these slush mats are called, what brand that is. I've actually got them in an XJ. I can't remember what they are. No overhead console, no infinity sound, no CD player. So, you know, a relatively run-of-the-mill classic. I always like the classic though. You get the color match bumpers and you always got alloy wheels. Prefer the 16-inch Icon wheels that came on the 2000s and 2001s, but a little more sidewall on these, I guess. Back seat looks nice. Great. This upholstery is great. Whatever I'm trying to say here. A bit of corrosion. Go back. Bit of corrosion on the latch. So it's going to be interesting to see underneath. We'll get there soon. Steering wheel, I noticed this earlier, is real ratty. Get that recovered, but it doesn't look great. You definitely want to do that if you're going to drive it. It's not that expensive and not real hard to pull the steering wheel off of one of these. As long as you've got the right steering wheel puller. It's pretty nice inside though. Some scuffs on the console. Little mark there. That's probably like an old cigarette burn. But, you know, it's a 25-year-old car. Little rust on the screws here. Pretty typical for something that was somewhere cold. Well, maybe these are both factory mats. The other one just looked deeper. Because this is a factory mat. Bit of corrosion on those seat anchors I saw there. It's got some pet fur here. Always hard to get it vacuumed up off of these. Somebody's put some sort of a weird little screw here, probably because they broke the plastic. This all looks fine. So I'm looking at the little pinch welds right in here, whatever you call these. I don't see any rust bubbling. If it is, it's very minor. That's a good thing, obviously. Got some rust on the bottom of the doors, at least that one. I'm sure it's on all of them. Hard to tell on this one, but probably. Where there's one, there are more. Yeah, I got just a bit creeping in on that back door. See if we get more. There's probably some here. Oh yeah, we got some rust. This is what I was talking about. This side is worse than the other side. This is kind of your Midwest stuff. I can guarantee you most of that happened during its time in Chicago. So there's that non-matching spare. This is a sport spare tire. A basic, Sporter SE, the full face alloy or whatever they call these. The typical 5-spoke, also used on TJs and even some early ZJs. It's your fact of the day. That's a spare tire cover. It looks hard to tell, but that might be a compact cover. But yeah, that was not original. It does have a new tire. It's nice to have, don't get me wrong. All right, we're under the hood here. No ABS on this one. It does have the California emissions equipment, like the air pump and all that jazz, which was probably required in Maryland, where this was sold new. This has been detailed underneath, but I do see some metal corrosion. Pretty much what you'd expect. The detailing means we can't really look for oil leaks or anything like that, but let's see. All right, underneath, it's been coated in something. It looks really good because it's been sprayed. So it's going to be hard to tell here, but we do see we've had our steering stabilizer replaced. All of our greasable points look decent. Got our Dana 30 front axle there. Bit of rust at the pinch weld here. Yeah, that muffler's probably not as new as it looks. Yeah, so this is all that undercoating that's been applied. Probably recently, judging by how clean this is. Kind of a dealer trick. But that said, the steering stabilizer might have been replaced when that suspension work was done. So here you can see where somebody's taped around this barcode that's on the axle. It's a Dana 35 here. Kind of interesting, but they've painted over probably some of the grease that's on there. Hard to say. All things considered, this does not look bad. Probably not a preservation quality XJ, but still pretty nice. And they did a nice job by masking off at least the exhaust system, so that paint would have burnt off anyway. Did get some on the drive shaft. Let's see, there we are again. Yeah, some exhaust stuff that's been replaced. Yeah, not much to look at under here. This is the drive shaft is what all this looked like before somebody painted it. Not what I like to see. All right, here's a build sheet. You can still get these from Chrysler, pretty easy to find. The important stuff on this is once you get a bit more into it here, I look for stuff like, especially on these, what suspension did it have? This one did not have the upcountry suspension. I look for things like skid plates would be sort of an unusual option. This one, I could tell from the pictures didn't have it, and from the factory didn't either be mentioned in here somewhere. It did have a compact spare, as I thought. It was built to Maryland specs, shipped to Washington, D.C. The state specs were a bit different. And this one, where does it say it? Is it toward the beginning? Where it says, somewhere in here, it'll say the emissions equipment. It's in here somewhere. We'll get to it. Yeah, it's not quite a window sticker, but it's at least somewhat useful. Deep tint, that means that's the rear glass that was done. Heated mirrors, those were another option on these. Yeah, so this tells you pretty much everything. A lot of this stuff like this 5-year, $150,000 powertrain care and a few other of these that just don't make a lot of sense. These were in there because they reused the code, so this would apply to a newer Chrysler vehicle. But here we have the California emissions, Northeastern States tracking, and transitory low emission vehicle, TLEV. That was all the emissions stuff. That's all the extra stuff. Oh, that's cool. 2 original keys with fobs. This key looks like it's never been used. That's cool. That might very well be an old dealer stock tag, or could just be from the dealership that's selling it right now. It's kind of fun. You got the business card of the original salesperson in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. This is in the Baltimore area. Oh, that's so funny. It's got his car phone number. Nick Nolan. All right, then. Excuse me. There concludes our unscripted auction review of this '99 Jeep Cherokee Classic. I will put at the end of this video what this one sold for. All right, thanks for watching.